Hey folks, welcome back to another Pomass video, and today we're going to talk about move candies, because with the new move candy system that they have dropping with a lot of these banners, so a lot of people probably already got quite a few of those coins, right? Because they're kind of giving out the coins like everywhere now, right? And a lot of you guys probably already have one, or many even have two or more, right? Of each. So I thought I'd go over a video in terms of talking about like where it would be best to use these candies economically, right? Where it makes sense. Obviously, if you want to use it on your favorite sync pair, I'm not going to stop you. You could go ahead, right? And again, we're talking about like 5-star candies, right? So if you want to use it on your favorite sync pair, that's fine. I'm not going to argue with it. But for those who don't really care about stuff like that, or they already have their favorite sync pairs maxed out, they're just looking to, in terms of which ones might be better value, right? Let's talk about it then. So first of all, in terms of which type of units to use it on, I do want to mention that I do think it's probably better to use it on limited units. That being seasonals, poke fairs, and massive fairs. And massive fairs, I said plural even though we only have one in the game so far. And we're gonna talk about those and which ones they're probably better used on, and in terms of which move level you should probably use them on, right? So reason being, seasonal, these banners come, the seasonal units, they come once a year because they're seasonal, right? That's how it works. That's wouldn't make sense if it happened more than once a year, right? So the seasonal only happen once a year. They're all limited, right? So that's a big reason why I want to use it there. Massive fairs, we don't exactly know how common they're gonna be. I'd imagine they probably won't be as common as poke fairs. So yeah, massive fairs, that's a thing. And also the massive fair featured unit rate is 1%, which is relatively low, right? So there's that. And poke fairs, they are limited, but I don't think they're like that great to spend on in comparison to the other two, just because poke fairs, they do get rerun. They are limited, but like they come back relatively like frequently. Like every 2 or 3 months they come back, right? And usually poke fairs, they come back on like much better banners. So yeah, it's not a bad idea to like actually like summon all those poke fair banners, right? So we're not going to go over any of the poke fair units, even though again those are an option. I just don't think they're as good as, say, like master fairs or seasonals in terms of like using candy. I'm not saying they're overall better units or whatever. I'm just saying in terms of like the value of using these move candies, just in terms of how exclusive they are, how limited they are, right? Again, they do rerun a lot, and the rerun banners are actually pretty nice. So we're just gonna mainly talk about the master fair unit and the seasonals that we have so far, right? So starting off the first master fair unit, if we're looking at Leon Charizard, obviously in my opinion, very much well worth using the move candy on. If we look at when you should probably use it, moving it from 1 out of 5 to 2 out of 5 doesn't really do much, right? You get like Rejuvenate 6, which is okay, and then you get Move Gauge Refresh for Inferno and Earthquake. But outside of that, you really don't get anything. So, like, if you are going to use a move candy, striker move candy on Charizard, or Leon's Charizard, right? At least have him like 2 out of 5 first, or like have 2 move candies ready to use on him, or it's either have 2 move candies ready to use on him, or have him already at 2 out of 5 before, because like 3 out of 5 is where he gets all his good stuff, right? You get Scorching Sting 5, you get where's that, Burn Synergy 3, that's a big one, right? Healthy Super Hit, that's fine as well, right? Fast Track could be useful in like dual striker comps, all that stuff. But yeah, most of like the good stuff for Leon is at 3 out of 5. So again, like I mentioned before, if you are going to use a candy on him, I'd probably wait till you get like 2, or you could secure 2, or unless you're just not, worried about like using it on any other units, right? before using it on Leon's Charizard, right? So moving on, let's just start from like the first seasonals, right? In terms of talk about seasonals, here we go. Delibird. So Delibird, if you look at Delibird, honestly, starting at 1 out of 5 is good enough, right? You do get a lot of other great things once you do increase its move level, right? Ice Shell's really nice. Shared Fortune 2 is really, really good, right? But you do get like most of the stuff you have already at 1 out of 5, so it's not something that like you have to increase the move level for. But if you are going to increase it, if you look at 2 out of 5, you don't really get too much outside of like Ice Shell, which is really, really good if you are running Delibird and Hail teams exclusively. So if you like have a really, really great Hail team set up and you want Delibird to be your tank, if you're running like dual strikers on Hail teams, you don't have like any other tank, then you probably would want to get your 1 out of 5 Delibird to 2 out of 5. But outside of that, I do think the 3 out of 5 Delibird is much better because, because you get Shared Fortune 2, right? Which is like the big thing on Delibird's sync grid, honestly, right? So that's Delibird. Moving on to Auxillary, which is the next one, right? Auxillary, if you look at its grid, honestly, at 1 out of 5, you get like nothing. He's not like that great at 1 out of 5. So you definitely do want to probably use move candies on him to make him like more useful. Unfortunately, at 2 out of 5, he doesn't really get much either. Scorcher 2 is not really that great in my opinion. Burn Synergy 3 is okay, but like the big thing about Auxillary is you can sync nuke with him. He has a really, really great sync nuke, which is behind 3 out of 5 with Rising Tide, Crit Strike 3, right? Stuff like that. Octazooka Discombobulator is also pretty nice. Dizzying Power, like, a lot of like the really, really good stuff is behind 3 out of 5, right? For Auxillary. So yeah, if you have your Auxillary at 1 out of 5 and you only have 1 tech move candy, I probably wouldn't hurry using it on Auxillary. Probably either wait until you get 2 more or just try to go for more copies on his banner rerun, either this year or next year, right? Depending on when it comes back. All right, so moving on to the summer sync pairs, right? Sandslash. Sandslash, honestly, at 1 out of 5 is fine. Like, his main kit, like, most of his stuff comes from, like, his regular kit anyways. Obviously, Hailbringer is the big one. You got Invigorating Hail 5, which is, and Snow Shelters, honestly, all, like, 90% of his kit anyways. Again, you do have some good stuff on his sync grid, so if you want to use your move candy on him, that's fine as well. 2 out of 5, you get Flinch Hitter 5, which I'm not a huge fan of giving him, right? And you do get Move Gauge Refresh for Life Crash, so I don't really think it's like a really big deal for also here too for 2 out of 5 Sandslash. So in my opinion, you either keep him at 1 out of 5 and use your candy somewhere else, or get him up to like 3 out of 5 to get the to get the actual good stuff, right? Stuff like Double Down. I guess if you want to run Icicle Spear, you can run like the no quarter stuff. Maybe Freezer Burn, right? Freeze Energy with Ice. Like, you just get like a lot more options at 3 out of 5. Again, I don't think it's really necessary. Oh, you also get Hasty Hail, which is nice. Cold Snap to an Icicle Spear. I do think 1 out of 5 for Sandslash is enough. If you want like a lot of the more gimmicks in his grid, obviously 3 out of 5 is much more than 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5, again, you don't get much other than like Flinch Hitter 5, which again, in my opinion, not the greatest thing in the world. And then Harry 2, I think you get at 1 out of 5 anyway, so like you basically got most stuff at 1 out of 5. And yeah, Healing Hail at 1 out of 5 too. So anyways, moving on, next one, Jigglypuff. Let's see where Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff is, I don't know, like, you really don't have anything at 1 out of 5, right? And you really don't have much at 2 out of 5 either. You have like a Sync Nuke with Rude Awakening 5, but like Jigglypuff doesn't even have like a 6-star EX yet, so I mean it's still good, right? You could, extra 50% damage is good, but with the extra sleep on your sync, it's a good sync. But at the moment, this is completely pointless, by the way. This is bait. This is bait. Don't like go 2 out of 5 Jigglypuff for that. But yeah, either you don't touch it or you go 3 out of 5 for Good Nightmare, right? Because that's kind of like the big thing on Jigglypuff's grid for the most part, I guess. Nothing else is really a huge deal. I guess maybe Play Rough on the roll is cool, but it's not like the biggest deal on the roll, honestly. Moving on, you got the Halloween unit. So let's see. There's Mimikyu. So Mimikyu is not something I'd probably use on. I do feel like she's pretty underwhelming overall as a unit. Again, if you really, really like Mimikyu, then go ahead. But at the moment, she's kind of, right? She just doesn't have that great of a spot. And in terms of, again, move candy, 1 out of 5, you do get Fuzzy Strike 5. Thing with Mimikyu is you don't have the MP refreshes at 1 out of 5, right? You don't even get them at 2 out of 5. So, like, if you really want to, like, use Mimikyu more efficiently, you kind of have to you just kind of have to go for, like, 3 out of 5, because that's where you get all the NPRs on Phantom Force, on Shadow Sneak, unless you don't really care to do damage with Mimikyu. But then again, if you're not doing damage with Mimikyu, you're just basically confusing the enemies and lowering their defense, and you're not even, like, having Stop Hitting Yourself 5, because you only get that at 3 out of 5 as well. So again, Mimikyu is more of a either 1 out of 5 or 3 out of 5 situation here. As for Mightyena, which is the other one, right? Here's Mightyena. As for Mightyena, you got a pretty solid kit already at 1 out of 5, just with, like, the stuff that he has on. Got Carry On, Spur on 4, which is really, really nice, but you don't really get much of the damage until you get Mighty into, like, 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5 you get Haymaker, which is really, really nice. 1 out of 5 you have Ramming Speed, I guess, which is cool. But yeah, 2 out of 5 you get Haymaker, you get Insult to Injury, right? You get double Stand Fast 5s on for Double Edge, right? You get Gravity 5, which is pointless. And then at 3 out of 5 you do get some good stuff, right? Crunch on a Roll is cool. Super duper effective one. You'll honestly never use it just because it's too expensive for only 10% buff, right? Get extra move gauge fresh on Crunch, get First Aid 4. Honestly, 3 out of 5 is not, like, a huge deal. It really isn't a huge deal. Like, Mightyena, if you want to use a candy on Mightyena, 1 is enough, right? Get him to 2 out of 5 and you basically got, like, 90% of his kit. 3 out of 5 you do have, like, some cool stuff, but I don't think it's really crucial, right? At least in my opinion. So moving on, we got I think the Christmas sync pairs, right? Where are they? Togekiss. Here's Togekiss. And Togekiss is a 3 out of 5 thing, right? Honestly, like, some units, if you leave it at 1 out of 5, it's fine. Togekiss, if you leave it at 1 out of 5, it's extremely mediocre. Right? Because, like, you don't have much on the grid. You got, like, Freeze Energy too, which even if you land the status condition, it's only like a 1 out of 3 chance of it being freeze. So it's very unreliable. But yeah, outside of that, like, your base kit is just kind of underwhelming. Like, your special attack is okay, right? But, like, outside of that, Tri-Attack, it doesn't, it's not anything crazy in terms of damage. And then you just got your Sync move with the innate Sync buff, and that's, like, kind of it. Well, you get Foul Fighting 5 as well. Like, if you're running Togekiss at, like, 1 out of 5, you just don't have that many great multipliers, right? To make Togekiss that great of a damage dealing or Sync nuker. You're just mainly going to be using Togekiss to, like, flinch and get a random status, which, again, Tri-Attack, getting a random status is not good because in this game you mainly want you want to know what status you're getting on the opponent, right? So that you could coordinate with your other units that could potentially, if they have Burn Synergy or Paralysis Synergy or whatever, right? Toxic Power. So they could coordinate those moves. So, like, even, like, at 1 out of 5, using her attack is not that great, and there are just better flinchers than Togekiss out there, right? So, like, 1 out of 5 Togekiss is just straight up not that great at all. 2 out of 5, you don't get much either, honestly. Like, you got, like, Flinch Hitter 5, which does make your Sync move a bit better, but Togekiss really shines when it's 3 out of 5. So, Togekiss, in my opinion, you kind of, if you want to, again, you don't have to invest in Togekiss, right? But if you want to, you probably would want to get her 3 out of 5, right? Get Rising Tide here, Ramming Speed, Dirty Fighting 3. Where's the Team Lucky Entry is okay, right? So like that's where you get and the Sync move power up nodes. So yeah, Togekiss is kind of 3 out of 5 or bust, right? Moving on. What was the other? Oh, Comfy. So Comfy, honestly, if you look at 1 out of 5. If you leave Comfy at 1 out of 5, it's okay, but I would recommend getting Comfy to 2 out of 5, so you get Master Healer on Draining Kiss. At 3 out of 5, Comfy doesn't really get, I mean, there's some stuff, like Healing Hand is nice, but like it's not like the biggest deal in the world, because like Comfy already has like 1 Healing Hand. It's just for like an extra one, just to make Comfy incredibly overpowered at like recovering statuses. But like it's not the biggest deal in the world in my opinion. Like again, stuff like Lay Up Shared Fortune is cool, but like it's not the biggest, especially since she only has like 1 MP on Lay Up anyways. So again, I don't think it's the biggest deal. Like you got HP Advantage 5, which is nice, but the main thing you want on Comfy is Draining Kiss, Master Healer 1. Everything else is just, you know, it's just extra gravy, right? So Comfy, you probably would want to get to 2 out of 5, and again, you don't really need to spend more outside of 2 out of 5. Moving on to let's see, where is it? There it is. Gyarados from the New Year's units, right? Gyarados, you could just use that 1 out of 5. I mean, you know, nothing too special. Just you got Hyper Beam to go in with Power Flux 5, right? Which is good enough. As for the grid, you don't really have much, right? I guess you have Superior Might MP Refresh, but do you really want to use it? Right? So outside of that, like 2 out of 5, you got like 1 move gauge refresh on Hyper Beam, which is cool, but like not the biggest deal in the world. Got Shower Power 5, which is again cool, but not the biggest deal in the world either. Paralysis Synergy 1, extra 10%, doesn't need the opponent to be paralyzed. Not really worth it in my opinion. Like you got like some like nice stuff like Racing Rain, like some nice stuff here and there, but in my opinion, you either keep Gyarados at 1 out of 5, which is again mostly good enough, or you go for 3 out of 5 for you know, both Raging Rain 2, and then it just makes like the weird part like about having Gyarados at 2 out of 5 is if you have Gyarados at 2 out of 5 and not either 1 out of 5 or 3 out of 5, is you are put in an awkward spot at like you kind of have to run Rain with Gyarados, but then like you're taking up a slot to run Rain and the benefits aren't that big, right? Because like at 3 out of 5, the return for like having Rain is much better, right? You got much more stuff. You got Shower Power, you got Racing Rain 3, you got Raging Rain. And then with 2 out of 5, you only have like Shower Power 5 and Racing Rain 3, which is again, it's nice to have, but it's kind of wasted for that like one team. Well, I wouldn't say it's wasted, but like you know, you're throwing in like a Rain Unit just for an extra 50% on your sync, and then like the Racing Rain 3, which is again, they're nice nodes to have, but I just feel like it's not really worth it, right? So you either go again 3 out of 5 or just keep it at 1 out of 5, right? You also have Carry On at 3 out of 5, which is cool. Refreshing Rain if you want that, right? Sync Quick, no one cares about Sync Quickening. And you get the second Move Gauge Refresh, which, by the way, the second Move Gauge Refresh is a Move Gauge Refresh 3. The first one's only a Move Gauge Refresh 2. Moving on, Bomby. Let's see, where is it? Bomby. You kind of, if I remember correctly. Let's see. What does Bomby have? 1 out of 5. 1 out of 5. Yeah. You basically have like nothing at 1 out of 5. Like you don't. If you got Bomby, you don't want to keep it at 1 out of 5. 2 out of 5, you don't really get much either. You get the Move Gauge Refresh on Leech Life, which is pretty helpful. I guess, especially for a support being like a 3 gauge user and not like the fastest in the world either, right? But again, I don't think it's like the biggest deal in the world either, right? Because like for Bomby, you either keep that 1 out of 5 or go for 3 out of 5, because 3 out of 5 you do get Master Healer on Leech Life, and you get double move gauge refresh on Leech Life, right? And you get Ridicure as well. Interference, like this is where you want Bomby, right? It's either 3 out of 5 or you keep it 1 out of 5. Let's see, moving on. Whimsicott, where's Whimsicott? All right, Whimsicott. All right, at 1 out of 5, it's okay, right? It's just that like at 1 out of 5, you won't be doing that much damage. You still got like okay-ish multipliers, right? Hunter's Instinct, Ramming Speed are fine. You will be doing some solid damage with that special attack stat. And you could still do like all your support stuff, right? The Sugar Rush thing, Sunspore could help, Conspore could still help, right? But if you want to, go for Whimsicott damage, right, you do probably at least want 2 out of 5. So you get Inertia over here, right? But again, it's like it isn't like the biggest steal in the world. But I do think keeping Whimsicott at 1 out of 5 is still fine as well. Again, 2 out of 5 gives you a solid boost over there with Inertia, so that plus the built-in, innate buff is pretty nice. 3 out of 5 is also okay, right? 3 out of 5 is okay because you do get stuff like Paralysis Synergy 5, which is definitely nice, right? But yeah, 1, 2, 3 they all have their merits for Whimsicott, honestly. And then the last one we're gonna talk about, Alcremie. Alcremie, you don't get too much at 1 out of 5. You do get like enough, right? If you're just using Alcremie, if you're not trying to like tank with Alcremie or whatever, if you're not trying to put any like defensive pressure on Alcremie, 1 out of 5 is fine because you get like the MP refresh on House Sweet, which is kind of the big thing over here. You got move gauge refresh on both Charm, Fake Tears, and Dazzling Gleam. 2 out of 5 does give you some really, really good stuff. So 2 out of 5 would be nice, right? Because you do get First Aid 4. You get the second MP refresh on House Sweet. You get the second move gauge refresh on all these moves. You get Healthy Healing, right? Toughen Up if you need that. And 3 out of 5, honestly, is just some like damage stuff. Other than like Revenge Boost. Revenge Boost is not damage stuff. But you got Power Posture. Where's the other one? Eagle's Eye if you don't want to bring an extra crit buff or whatever, if you're running her like as a secondary DPS on the team. But yeah, I don't recommend going for 3 out of 5. I mean, heck, I haven't even gone 3 out of 5. I mean, I'll do 3 out of 5 Alcremie eventually, right? I actually did have my second tech candy now with the Marnie event, right? So I'm gonna use it on her. I'm just waiting for like a Fairy Week stage to come back so I could actually try her out once that happens, right? So yeah, so either keep her at 1 out of 5 or throw one in for 2 out of 5, right? So anyways, that's really this one, I guess. Hope you guys enjoy. Let me know guys think in the comments down below. Like, enjoy this video, so channel for some more Pokemon content. I'll see you guys in the next one.